All right, we are going to talk about how I went from broken in debt, not even 5 years ago, to now grossing $400,000 a month with my companies, plural. And I'll tell you this, my net is not far off the gross because I don't really have a lot of overhead. So without further ado, let's get into it. Everybody has a different come up story. Mine was, I had to get, I was 29, I started making my first couple bucks. And then by the time I'm 30, don't get me wrong, I made money before I was 29, but like first couple bucks, like got comfortable, was able to send my mom some money. 30 years old, I actually started making money. And then I would classify like quote unquote like rich, like, north of 500K, a year or something like that by the time I was 31. So what I did is I built a huge pool of trust by doing people right and not dirty. So I went the service route on TikTok. I went the experience route and I sold coaching. And then with my coaching, I was also double dipping with drop shipping peptides, drop shipping supplements to my clients, and making sure that they have everything that they needed for their successful trials of whatever they were going to do. You have to make money on both ends. Okay, so that's tip number one. If you're doing something, make sure you're making money on both ends. Service for me and products go hand in hand. Okay, you're not going to make a lot of money if you're just selling one thing. I mean, product, yeah, but the product you gotta be really to scale. You gotta pop off. You gotta sell. It's gotta be like Happy Dad, and you gotta have the reputation beforehand. You really want to, when you're starting from nothing, you really want to build on two fronts. You want to have service and you want to have product. Okay, what is the hardest thing to do nowadays, guys? The hardest, fucking most annoying thing is talking to somebody like when you call the bank. Hey, I gotta report fraud. Or when you want to like look into something that a company has to offer and you're like calling, like you have to call the headquarters, like you're speaking to somebody who doesn't speak English, you're getting yanked around by fucking AI telling you to press this button, please specify, like fuck off. Let me talk to a human being and let me get my shit straight with this person. Let me understand what I'm buying, and that's all I need. And then if there's the delay on the shipping, or if I got a question after I buy, I need to calm my mind, I can just text that person. It's like a concierge service. People love concierge service, whether they can afford it or not. People love getting their ass wiped, and I provided that service from day one. So when I was coming up and starting to make a couple $100,000, and I got my first, oh, this is so funny, man. Like when I was doing, I got my first, like, what do we want to call this? I think it sounds gay. Big boy purchase. Like my first car, it was 108 grand. My first legit car was 108 grand. It was a BMW fucking M Comp, but it was like a 50i 5 Series, and it was just 3 years ago. Took a picture of it. I never posted or anything. I took a picture of it, sent to the fam. I was like, got this car. It was 108K. It was a nice car. It's not a comp. I keep saying it's a M Sport, but it was a 50i whatever. All the BMW guys know what I'm trying to say. And shortly after, maybe a year later, I'm looking at that car and I'm like, oh shit, like as things are growing and you're progressing, like I want something better. And somebody gave me shit that it wasn't an M Comp. Next day I get an M Comp. Okay, but actually I'm skipping some shit. I bought a Ferrari cash, and then my boy was giving me shit on this car. He's like, oh, you need to get something sicker to pair up with your Ferrari. I was like, oh, I like this car. No, he's like, you need to get an M Comp. Okay, I got the next day. I'm at the dealership, get the M Comp. Okay, then I traded in the M Comp for a Cullinan, traded in that Ferrari for a better Ferrari. So you always want to upgrade, but you're not going to be able to upgrade if you're not doing right by others. So I don't know what the formula is for you. Maybe you need to get pissed off more. I think a lot of people don't get pissed off enough, and then they just kind of scam their way to the top, and then they fizzle out, and it comes back to bite them. I do raise my eyebrows when I see like somebody who's 21, 22, 23, 24 millionaire. Like I think 1 out of 10 are justified, and the rest are like doing something fishy. It doesn't really make sense to me. So if you're younger and you're watching this, it's better, and I did a video on this today with Malibu Lying. It's better to grow like this, that's how it's been for me the past close to 5 years. This, not shot up, right? And then you're down. Eventually, something's gonna catch up with you. You're scamming. You're doing something stupid. You're lying. It's gonna catch up with you, and it's gonna totally just go all the way down. And maybe you can consolidate somewhere decent, but it's better just to grow like this. Okay, and the way you grow like this, you do good work. You stand behind what you're doing. You make sure if people are ordering, they all get their orders. If somebody's order takes too long, you comp them something. If you didn't get back to somebody promptly within 5 or 6 hours, I would think that's a huge delay. When a client needs you, especially when you're first starting out, you apologize and you make good, and hey, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Make up for that. So you want to overwork You want to overwork and over-deliver your first couple years coming up. Now I have, if you're thinking from the beginning of the video, how's this guy doing 400 a month? By the way, I don't think that's a lot. I'm proud, I'm happy, but I'm in pursuit of 500 net this year. And if I don't hit that, you know what, time out, I'm a big law of attraction guy. I will hit that, but let's just say hypothetically I didn't, that's a fucking loser year. That's my mentality. That's a fucking loser year. I know people that are doing north of $1 million a month. That's gotta be me. You know, if God doesn't bless me with that this year, next year, that's gonna be me. But 500 is the benchmark. And right now at 4 is a gross, but the net's not far off. I don't wanna give the exact amount, but this is what we're doing. I had to build something to scale. I don't really even coach anymore in terms of like physique coaches, or excuse me, as a physique coach, like a fitness coach. Like I do it for people in my brokerage and or for people that want to spend, north of $750 a month. Yeah, I'll do that. But and usually it's $1,000 a month. But if I can get somebody in the brokerage where they can make me money at the same time, I'll coach them and I'll get them looking great and stuff. I do that for $750. Just gonna plug that in real quick. So you get brokerage access and you get coaching. But that's the starting price. Okay. In the past, if you want to learn how to make a lot of money, I'll give you the formula right now. You have to undercut the market. You're a nobody. You want to make a lot of money. You're gonna have to undercut the market, and you're gonna have to over deliver on the service. So I went from saying $750 to $1,000 a month. I used to do it for $100 a month, then $150, then $200, then $250, then $300, and then it got serious. But I didn't have a high ticket offer for like 2.5, 3 years. No, 2.5, yeah, 3 years. So you have to undercut. You have to work, over deliver. That's just the service side. You want to make sure you have distribution of peptides, supplements. Whether you can get people creatine, you can get people protein powder, you can get people meal preps. You got to have like a lot of things firing off on that second cylinder, so you can be making money on both aspects. And then you have to realize, how am I going to go to scale? I'm not truly to scale yet, but I'm scaling, and it's like, how am I going to go to scale? Like, I can't, me personally as a PED coach, I couldn't teach people like how to do PEDs and build that to scale. There's not another Anthony. There's just not. And I don't trust anybody but myself to do the protocols I do with my clients. Some of them are really safe and they have a splash of riskiness in them, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't build that to scale, it's a liability. So I go, oh fuck man, peptides come out, and they've been out for a long time. They've actually, people don't know this, they've been out for like 100 years. Insulin was the very first peptide. It saved over 500 million Americans. HGH is a peptide. So they've been out for a long time, but they got popular, these derivatives of HGH, like 4 years ago. And maybe 3 years ago, because I got into it 3 years ago. So that's what it was. 3 years ago, I was kind of a naysayer for a couple months, and then I did it for my elbow to see if it can help. I have like a joint issue with my elbow that comes up like once or twice a year. Gone. Oh, okay, shit. Then I did tirzepatide. I did semaglutide, I didn't like it, so I moved to tirzepatide. I'm like, I see what people are talking about, but I'm getting bloated. I don't like this, kind of makes me feel like shit. I heard tirzepatide's smoother, so I moved to tirzepatide. This is 2 summers ago. Best I ever looked. Okay, shit. So I start selling the peptides, but I'm drop shipping for my boy's company, but I'm getting great margins on it. He's making money, I'm making money, I'm happy. And then, one thing moves to another. When you start getting really good at something and making a lot of money, people come to you with better opportunities. You are a magnet, and you will attract better opportunities. You don't have to go looking for them. I never went to go look for opportunities. Once I started making money, and like fucking, my content was popping, all that stuff, like people come to you. So you make, more introductions, you meet some people, you try out some products, you make sure that they're snappy on deliveries, you give somebody a go. And sooner than later, I had, better margins on my shit. I was able to flip my shit for a lot more and get it for a lot less and make a lot more with the peptides. So then fast forward, I'm like, okay, one night, now we're gonna get a little serious here. One night, and this was less than a year ago, my buddy, still my friend, but I think less of him, if you're watching this, asked me for 20 grand. He asked me for 30 grand, and I gave him 20. And he's a hard worker, and I thought, oh, no matter what, he's gonna fucking pay me back. He'll give back his Maybach, he'll sell his Maybach to make good with me. That's what I was thinking. The issue with what you did, bro, is you had no business asking me for money because he was so far behind on his payments for everything. So when I found that out and the car got repossessed and I found out he was squatting in his penthouse and all this stuff, it really rubbed me off the wrong way because I never would have asked somebody for money. What it did do was, and I haven't gotten paid back since, what it did do though is that night that I said, okay, I'll give you 20, I went to my couch and I sat down, I go, how can I make that back in a day? Like I'm doing like, you know, at the time I'm doing like three's a bad day, 6, 7, 8's a good day, right? You can have a little bit more, cool, but like how am I gonna make 20 back in a day? Because I don't want to wait 3 to 4 days to make that. And I really can't. I came up with a brokerage. I was like, I need to teach people how I got rich. I need to teach people how I make money. Drop shipping. I didn't start my own companies until I was at like 100K a month minimum. I was enjoying being a kid. And what I mean by that is like when you're a kid, you don't have responsibilities, all this shit. I still had responsibilities, but owning your own businesses is way more stressful. There's fires being put out every day. You know, it's just tacking on a lot more fucking, you know, shit on your plate. I don't want a brick and mortar. People that rent like places to like call their business, whether it's an office, a gym, or anything. Fuck that alone bothers me. You know, so I don't understand why people do that. I mean, you can just make all your money virtually. But it was inevitable to launch these businesses, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna launch. At first, I was like, I'm gonna launch like 5 peptide companies. One, if you know that I own it. The other ones, you won't know I own it because if you don't like me, at least you still go buy these peptides. But what I started to learn is that's not the way to do it. It's a lot of exposure, and also it's very stressful. It's really tough to get one company off the ground with merchant processing. But what I did realize I had to do was I needed to have both buyers. I have very rich clients. I have like Poker Pro, dude, if you're watching this, love you, who's a fucking like almost a billionaire. I have Fortune 500 guys. I have creme de la creme buyers. And I also have like middle of the road in terms of income, but awesome people that are also buyers and clients. Okay, so I need to sell gray label, China, and I also need to sell creme de la creme, best I can get my hands on, synthesized in California, which is what I have, peptides. Why did it have to be synthesized, in California? Because California is peptide capital, USA. Don't give a fuck with what anybody's saying on watching this. It is fucking true. It is by far, I know the owner of Peptide Science, and I know the owner of Paramount, and they're all within a small radius of where I live. All the fucking peptide players are here. And I picked the lab for 1776, and I decided to spend a lot more and not cut a corner because nobody can fucking call me out on shit. And that's gonna go a long way. Remember I said you wanna be like this? Instead of me lying like the rest of these companies where I go, oh yeah, it's made in the USA, it's a fucking lie, and eventually we'll catch up with you. My shit is synthesized here. I have the content to prove it on my YouTube and all that shit. And then South Beach Wellness, I was like, that's gonna be more bang for your buck, still good product. It's it's China, but we got the COAs. The person that's getting the product has a bigger company than mine. I'm looking at his COAs. It's all good stuff, but it's not precise. I've said this in other videos. Precision is bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. The best way I can explain China is it's accurate, where you can hit a bullseye once or twice, and then you're going to hit off the fucking chart, and you're going to hit at the hit at the left and hit at the bottom of the barrel. Like there's a lot of inconsistencies with Chinese product that people do not really want to understand, especially on TikTok, which is fine. That's why I offer both. So, with the brokerage making me what it's making me, with just monthly renewal, currently that's close to, if not a little over 60, let's just say give or take 60. And then I have these 2 websites that are firing off at the same time. And 1776, because of the trust I built with my buyers, that netted almost $200,000 in less than 3 months' time with no website. I take a lot of pride in that. Imagine going to Shark Tank and say I've done over 200K in sales with no website in less than 3 months. Who wouldn't want to invest in that? So that company is just that's poised for fucking the moon. And South Beach is gonna do as well as my brokerage does. So I'm aware of what I need to do. And then one day I'm gonna fucking bundle these 3 things up, hopefully keep a little percentage, have some say at the board or as a consult or something, but sell it. 80, 90 million, $100 million, 9-figure deal. Why not? Private equity is valuing this stuff at 7 to 8 EBITDA. Well, if I don't need the internet to sell and the websites get shut off, I got, by the time I do this, north of 500 brokers selling shit through their phones. We don't need a website. So I have built something that is very sustainable long term and doesn't rely on a website. It is nice to have the websites, especially for my brokers, because they can go on the website, plug it in, get tracking immediately, all that stuff. But if we have to grit our teeth, and if we have to grit our teeth, that means everybody in the competition has to grit our teeth, and the websites are just falling off. Again, knock on wood, on big law of attraction, that doesn't happen. We're good. I don't have inventory issues. I'll never have inventory issues. I have deep ties over in China. I have deep ties over here in California. I can get whatever the fuck I want when I want. Because when I started making a lot of money, everybody came to me with opportunity. Everybody wanted to make money with me. And that you could sit here and say that as well once you start wheeling and dealing and doing whatever it is that you want to do, because everybody's gonna want to make money with you. Everybody's gonna want to do right by you. So it gets to a point where you start you're the magnet and you're bringing in a lot of money. Right now I don't have my Instagram. I lost, this is, what's the date today? It's the 28th. It's the 27th of February. I lost my Instagram on Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know why. I didn't even talk about Peptides that day, but sales are down like 10%. It could be because it's a short month. It could be because maybe they're down a little bit more, 12%, something like that. It could be because it's a short month. People are saving up. It's Q1. They just spent money at the holidays, January. But I will tell you this: there's definitely a reason as well that I just don't have my account. I can't promote a sale. I can't be talking 24/7. You do want to stay relevant on social media, guys, especially if you're not going to school. The relevance that social media gives and just being able to be consistent, it's okay if you're not like popping off. I've popped off and I make way more money now just accumulating an average of like 5,000 to 7,000 views, way more. Because those people are ready to buy, those people understand my content, they're devout, they're awesome. They got my back. They're the day ones, or those are the people that are finding me and they're sticking with my shit versus just like, 50K views, 100K views, but those people aren't ready to transact. They're just lose. The power of social media, just staying consistent, is your best bet to being successful. The longer you can wait to preach, the better. But if you're trying to get a bag at like 20, 21, 22, 23, and you're watching this, I would sell product. And I would sell product first and preach second. I led the way the other way. I'm going to preach and then I'm going to sell. Because it was my time. I could talk, and pretty soon I would say like, one more year, maybe not even, once I think just my personal goal is to have a dope house and buy 1 or 2 pieces of property and get that done within the next 12 to 18 months. And then I'm ready to take on people for like mastermind shit, like $15,000, 3 months, we sit down and I fucking teach you how to become me, like that type of shit. But I like to practice what I preach. I don't like when like people are doing these offers and they have like nothing to show for it besides like 2 supercars or like a supercar that they get repossessed, like Vincent Fisher or whatever is going on. Like all these guys are just like yapping. They don't really got it, and then they get their car repoed. It's embarrassing, so don't embarrass yourself. Stay true to yourself. That's it.